Applesauce. Threw it up on my lap.
Yeah.
Pat, tell the story again.
Please.
Yeah, because apparently nobody's heard it 12 times. Only 11.
Today is the 12th.
I
Yeah.
puked on
Are
a
you
black and
muted?
white cookie. No, that wasn't me.
Oh, I love that sound.
Why did you mute me?
Spite. Complete spite. Now I've muted Jackson because he's not here because I have to go to school. School's for nerds.
Bookworm.
Yeah.
Looser.
What did you say? Wuss?
Looser.
Looser?
Looser.
Okay.
Listen.
I don't know that reference. Okay, here we go. This is the part of the show where I make up a rhyme. I must admit today that I was short on time. So keep it simple, that's what I say. So I'll do just that, only if just for today. See? Still did it, though. Welcome to 470. This is episode number 470. So for all of you podcasters out there who think your shit doesn't stink because you've done like our 100th episode, fuck off.
Get on Pat's level.
Yeah. Waste so much time and money.
Yeah.
500's not far away.
No. 30 weeks, technically.
What are we doing to celebrate?
Something stupid.
Okay.
Something really stupid. Welcome to episode 470, the longest standing podcast on the sport of cycling. This is the one and only Packfiller Cycling Podcast. Think of us once again as a post-ride beer with several friends and one asshole. I am potentially that asshole. My name is Pat Bolger, and with me are the members of the Packfiller. So we are going to check in with tonight's Scratch Prologue question, of course, powered by Scratch Labs, the source for pure fueling at its finest. By the way, you guys, I've been messing with the computer levels, so if your voice level is too high, let me know. David, don't say anything. Tonight's prologue question: what was your first bike as a child, and who taught you to ride it? We're going all sentimental here.
Okay.
Nobody's going to cry on me, right?
Maybe.
Okay, here's the introductions. He's truly reaching age-defying and legendary status, Mr. Paul Main. I don't know, man. You're still... you're kicking my ass still, and I am in my best shape in a long time, and I'm angry about it. But how are you?
I'm doing all right, and
Yeah.
I think that you've got a lot to go.
No,
But
you've
you
been
are.
saying
I
that
even
to me
said.
for 10
I even
years.
said to
He
him
did.
though.
He did actually
I said
compliment
you are at least double what you were from last year, and I've said it to your son.
Which
you found
0
a switch.
to
0 to 50. You still got 100 to go there, Pat.
I just want to be happy.
Not with Sam around.
what is
him.
0? What is 0 times 2?
Yeah.
0.
Well, there you go.
All right, then. Paul, talk to me about your first bike.
I
and
mentioned
who
it
taught
a
you to
long
ride it.
time ago on
Yeah,
the
it
show.
might
It
have
was
been
a
one of my
convertible.
A convertible?
And so, because it was a hand-me-down bike, so it was a 20-inch wheel. Back then, they just had your standard, like, cruiser bars.
Okay.
And it was a 20-inch wheel bike. And my brother had it, and it had a removable top tube. But it was kind of... And you removed that, then it was a step-through. So my two sisters used it. And then I had it. And then my little brother used it for a little bit, but I still had it. And I turned it into a BMX.
Nice.
And, and I rode the crap out of that thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Who taught you to ride it?
I taught myself.
You did?
Yeah.
Training wheels, or did you just
I
go
had stabilizers, as the Brits call them. I had stabilizers for, I think, 2 minutes, and I had to take them off, and I was
Really?
gone. And then I never got off that bike.
Wow.
I would take the garbage out with it. I would do everything.
That explains a lot.
5-10 feet.
It really does.
It does.
Yeah. Next up, God, the theme ended quick. I didn't shut up for a long time, did I? Next, he's truly here to brag and annoy the shit out of me. Mr. Sam Waples.
I was going to say you are the asshole because you abandoned us this weekend.
I did not abandon you. I turned back with my boy.
And then guess who ran into you again?
Yeah, we'll
'Cause
talk about
karma.
that in a minute. We'll
Okay.
talk about that here.
Anyway, but I'm the asshole because I'm still making fun of you.
Yeah.
I have to say real quickly, that was funny when we had the same. You turned around because you had to get back.
Yeah.
We had the same amount of miles.
We did.
We ran into him again.
Yeah, they did. They caught us
We
on the
caught
way.
him.
Yeah.
And we're like, wait, what are you guys still doing out here?
Yeah. Scared me, too.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
And we got 1,000 more feet of climbing.
I was trying to scare you out of any potential AFib. Yeah.
But then,
Thank you.
But then he put some bonus miles on.
Oh, did
Oh, he did too.
Yeah, I did too.
Anyway, Sam, who taught you how to ride a bike and what was it? Can I just
remember it
guess
was my
that both of
dad.
you it's going to be the same bike?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I have a memory of a blue Trek.
I was just trying to remember, was it a Trek or a Giant? It was like a GT.
It could have been, yeah. But
But it was blue, yeah.
It was blue.
Maybe
Is what
it
is what I remember. My dad would be like, "Nah, you boys are wrong." But
Smart man.
yeah, you fuckers.
Yeah.
You don't even know what I gave you.
Yeah.
I don't see your dad saying that.
Yeah, no, he would say that. He's a saint.
I dream of it.
Yeah. I think he was the one that taught us, and I have a memory of rolling down our street because we have just a slight hill on that, and like we obviously kind of got the hang of it, and then I remember being like, "No training wheels" one day, and like I just remember going down the street and being like, "Wah!" But then I was stoked, and same story. Like couldn't get me off the bike.
It's that freedom.
Yeah,
It's that this is my world now.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that Paul, because mine's going to be similar to you. I don't know what brand it was. The bikes weren't
It didn't matter.
branded back then. It was just like some random color.
Yeah.
Next, he's truly in a great marriage that lets him compare his wife to a cheap car. Mr. David Wiffles.
It's a reliable car. Okay.
it's reliable, like my wife,
Still cheap.
It lasts.
like my marriage,
We talked about that for a second.
Maintains its beauty.
like
Excellent
my wife.
lines.
There we go.
All things that describe a Honda Civic and my wife.
Oh, the shit is deep.
Yeah.
The shit is deep. How are you, man? And what was was it the same bike?
I'm imagining it was, but for whatever reason, I thought the one that I got was not like it was my bike.
Oh.
You know, because
Right,
it
it
was
could
a lot of
have been.
there was a lot of hand-me-downs, obviously, but it was probably a Trek because it came probably from
North.
Conley,
Mhm.
North Division. But yeah, it had a fork and it was a great bike. I just remember like being able to ride to school and being happy about that.
Yeah.
I drew my first. I think I remember mostly drawing the bike I wanted. I used to draw like a full suspension mountain bike.
Oh, wow.
I just remember like wanting one so bad, and then I guess I finally just got one. Here I am.
Well, I want this. I'll buy
You
it.
guys
32.
learn to ride a bike when you're in Spokane and not on the west side.
We moved here very young.
I've been here.
Yeah,
since
I met
was-
your dad when he moved here.
Yeah,
And I'm like going,
Oh, shit.
that wasn't that long ago. It was on the morning ride.
Oh, shit.
No.
That changes the game, doesn't it, a little
least
bit?
30 years
Yeah, I was
ago.
sitting there going, wait a minute. You
It's
guys
just
were-
dawning on
They
you.
were still
Yeah.
shitting green
Yeah.
when I was out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Me, and I'm putting this in parenthesis or an asterisk or quotation marks. Me, I'm truly not going to post anything political ever again. But that's not true. I probably will again because I posted something political a little bit ago, and it just raised a bunch of stink, and everybody got, I got people mad at me and unfriending me. But I asked people to unfriend me, and so they did, and then.
And now you're upset that they did.
No,
what
I'm
you
not
asked.
upset about it.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it just turned into some
Yeah.
rough water, some
Yeah.
drama, like some family members.
I was gonna say, hopefully it's family.
Yeah,
They're the easiest to write off.
my niece, I unfriended. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
You unfriended or she unfriended?
well,
It was mutual.
yeah, it was. I think it was because I haven't seen her in decades, so it's like,
Well, I gave
Okay.
you grace because my rule on that
yeah,
is doesn't matter if I agree with them or not. That's not why I go on social media.
yeah.
And as somebody repeatedly does, whether it's something I agree on or not, I have to cool them off for 30 days. It's
Yeah.
like I don't. I get it every. I mean, you turn on the radio, you
Oh God, yeah.
the TV, everything. It's just
And
I
it-
just want a break. That's why I'm on social media.
And it's not going to solve anything. It's
No.
not like all of a sudden I say I dislike or like a certain political figure. Everybody's going to be like, "Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah,
you're
I'm gonna
right.
switch.
I'm going to
Yeah.
follow Pat through this." It's like, no, I no.
It's an echo chamber.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
Was this your
Anyway,
niece that
sorry.
I know?
No, you don't know my. No.
Okay.
She's not my niece. She's my cousin.
Oh,
Yeah, completely different.
yeah, totally.
Completely different. And my first bike was orange, and I crashed it. As soon as I got, my father kind of let me go, and I went down the alley.
You got this, son.
Yeah, it was. I mean, in my memory, it was one of those. Let's teach this little fucker to swim. Throw him in the water. And
Deep
so,
end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's this. I went flying down our alley, and it was either go into the street or hang a turn. And so I hit a hard right, and I made the sidewalk, but I just had too much speed, and like a proper, bad criterium corner, I greased a little wide and went right into a tree, and made sure that I brushed myself off and wiped my tears from my face before walking my bike back up to my house. And you know what? Another worst part is, I don't think my dad was there anymore by the time I got back. He was like, he's good.
Yeah. He stood up. Yeah.
I could just imagine you wearing that Batman mask with a cape and
Damn right.
riding.
And then the first bike was orange. The second bike was named Wildfire. It literally was named Wildfire. And then I got another kind of bike, and then I got a Roger DeCoster BMX bike, which was the shit at the time.
Yeah,
somebody is listening to this
BMX.
podcast somewhere who knows the Roger DeCoster.
Oh, I do.
Mag wheels, badass looking bike. No pegs or any of that shit. This was before pegs, but it was really cool.
Yep.
It was really cool. Gentlemen, we will go into the Waples brothers last on this question because they are likely to have the most bragging rights, but Paul, how's your cycling life? Oh, by the way, Jackson's not here with us, hence the cameras are going to be all messed up, and we're probably not going to have much control over the show.
Can I interrupt really fast?
There we go.
For the first time tonight, maybe this 100th. Anyway, I had a dream that you left this show to David and I for a night because you're like everybody else is out, and you're like, if you guys want, you can just run it. And I was like, Pat, I think that's a bad idea.
That is a bad idea.
And we were trying to operate everything, and I woke up sweating. I don't know how you do this.
First of all, if you edited out the entire middle section of that story, it would have started with, Pat, I had a dream about you, and then I woke up sweating.
Jesus.
I just want that for the record.
You could edit that out.
Yeah, you could edit that out. You should.
Yeah. That'd be a great edit.
Should.
It'd be freaking brilliant.
Oh, my God.
Paul, how's your cycling life?
It's going all right. Yeah.
Yeah?
We had a couple of rides, didn't we?
Yeah. Two?
Yeah. Two.
Yeah.
One
Well,
ended
1.5.
One ended with beer.
That's proper.
We hit the pub after our Saturday ride. A little chilly
Yeah.
on the patio, but
Which pub?
baptized our
Brick
new
West.
Brick West baptized the new teammate into the ritual, and he didn't seem to mind.
He met Flanders.
He met Flanders the dog. That's above and beyond there, right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah, and I've been doing rollers 2 times a week when
Okay.
I get home from work. That's because I can't leave the city limits, and I need access to my phone and my computer. So
okay.
that's what I do.
Yeah. I got a 5-day workout weekend again, which I'm really happy with, and things are feeling okay. I'm going to talk about the things of me that are not feeling okay, but first of all, I want to get angry at the Waples brothers because, all right, guys, let it rip. Where have you guys been the last week and a half? It's like we're
Maui.
interviewing Ryan again.
Maui. It was amazing. And David, I love that he is here because I threatened him with if he doesn't come, it's all via my story. And I'm going to tell
that's
you
true.
how many times I ripped his legs off.
Yep.
Which was a lot.
Which that's why you got PRs on everything, not because you were sucking my wheel.
Yeah.
Because you
I was ripping your legs off.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly where all those
That's
PRs
the
came
accurate
from.
version
You know
of the
how
story.
upset it makes me knowing that you have PRs in Hawaii?
Yeah.
That you've ridden these stretches more than
Oh,
once.
they're deep too. I mean, like
Thousands.
Yeah.
well, I mean,
Really?
like you've done these rides multiple, like
Yeah.
probably at least 20, 30
There's,
times. So.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That many?
Well, there's only one road in Maui,
really.
and it goes round and round and round.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one that goes up, and then you go round.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is very true. I mean, David witnessed that. I was telling him, like, on our ride, we're out on West Maui is where we always stay, and there's the West Maui Loop, which is the famous, like, 60-ish mile loop if you just go all the way around on that one road. But we go out and back. It's more elevation, and there's almost no traffic back there.
Really?
And, yeah. And I told David, I was like, we can do other stuff, but, like, this is kind of the best. And I showed him other stuff, and I think he's going to agree that, like, it was really nice just to, like, hit vert and, like, be away from cars and just, it's quiet
And warm
and warm.
and windy as hell.
Yeah, we got back, and you were talking about the wind, and I was like, I don't notice any wind. Like,
It was that bad.
It was
It was horrible. Yeah.
There are wind walls there.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
We rode up Aliakla. That's at 0 to 10,000 feet, sea level to 10,000 feet, 35 miles continuous.
Oh.
Longest paved
My
climb.
wife did it, hence where the analogy came from. that
Yeah.
she's so reliable and just keeps going. You know, with little fuel, she had like.
So do Land Rovers.
I don't think Land Rovers last that
So
long.
do
No.
Toyota pickups.
What? No.
Although you don't want to call your wife a Toyota pickup.
No.
No.
Or a Land Rover.
No,
No.
Honda Civic is a great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, either way, that was I think the biggest surprise of the weekend or the week was like Danielle crushed it. We were not that far ahead of her.
Yeah. Truly.
Yeah,
Truly.
Like I think we finished, turned around and got her, and she was like 1,000 vertical feet behind us
Yeah.
on a 10,000 vertical foot climb.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very impressive. Like, and when we got back to her eyes were in the back of her head, and she just looks at us, she goes, "Do you guys have any snacks?"
Really?
Snacks.
Oh yeah, she says snacks. That's why I say that. And Dave and I go, "No snacks.
Nothing.
You had nothing to give her.
Nothing."
No, she had my water pack. I gave her everything I had.
Yeah, I've
But-
given you everything.
Yeah, I was out of water and food, so.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And not only that, he supplies everything. Sam is the one that
Yeah.
carries all your stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Hey,
Even-
pony.
Yeah, even uphill.
Sherpa.
Yeah.
yeah.
I need
How-
more food.
How many miles for the entire week?
350.
350 there, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 350.
7
there.
days?
No, a little more. 8 or 9.
You had 9. I had 8.
That feels
I
right.
think. No, I had 7 because it was Friday and then Friday to Friday.
Oh yeah,
Last
of
ride
actual
was on a
riding
Friday.
versus like time there. Yeah, that's true. And 40,000 feet of vert.
That's what my next one was going to be.
That's big. I mean, because it's like what 1,000 feet per 10 miles means it's hilly.
Yeah.
You know, and like we
Exceeded that.
exceeded that.
Was it a pretty much a gradual kind of climbs, or were there steep pitches, kind of a thing like that? Was it just kind of the whole way?
Well, Aliakla is very gradual, and
It's a beautiful climb.
Yeah,
for that.
8% maybe, and then the West Maui Loop has a little bit of everything, and they're kind of shorts. They're actually really. I don't think they're that great in terms of, or they're hard, I should say, because as soon as you get into the rhythm, you're going downhill.
Okay.
And it's no straight, so it's like the whole time you have to be like very aware of what you're doing. You know, you can't just like put your head down and go.
Sure.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Or you're going to end up over a guardrail with a slice.
yeah, I
in
know
your-
nothing about
Was
that.
it an arm?
I know.
Arm, right?
Yeah, arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and Karsten Hagen both have
Yep.
matching peelings away of your flesh.
And Chloe has
And
it on
Chloe-
her knee.
She hit her leg though.
Yeah,
right?
she hit her leg.
Yeah, her thigh. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I do want to say that you guys might notice me chicken winging a little bit. Went to the doctor again today. Shoulders were back to normal, back to hurting like shit. Went again today, and got 2 more. I'm roiding out, bro. I am,
Bruh.
I am roiding out. I told one of my students today, and he says, "I expect you to come back tomorrow, and your neck's going to be twice its size." And I said, "Yes, and I will be a Joe Rogan listener too." But I think this will get me through a good portion of the season, about 4 months worth of And he says I've got more flexibility and more range, which is good because I've been working on that, and the rowing machine has helped. He even told me I had good posture.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, and that kind of brought me to the question I was gonna ask you guys. Are any of you guys a victim of the class? I'm watching you guys all kind of do this and stand up kind of tall now too.
This is just how I sit.
Cyclists' posture. How we tend to devolve or evolve into this almost Larry King type of a pose where our shoulders get kind of hunched and our backs are arched and we're closer to the microphone and things like that. Do you guys pay attention to your posture?
All day, because I do a lot of sitting in stools like this, and my back hurts all day.
Yeah,
So
it does.
I mean, if I'm not sitting there paying attention to it, it'll catch up with me by noon.
Really?
Yeah, I'm very much the same. I mean, just because of my world, and then also because I have like such loosey-goosey joints, like hypermobilities, that I have to be aware of my posture. Otherwise, I'll just like
Really?
Gumby, you
Okay.
know? So I have to, but I'm always in a bad posture and I have to correct it.
You do? Okay.
Mhm.
Paul, do you notice it?
Well, mine's probably was more work related, because my work is always, you're on the ladder balancing, you're kind of slumped and you're in a question shape, working on 4-foot switches, bent over, working on outlets.
Yeah.
in crawl spaces, you know,
Yeah.
and stuff. So you're always hunched, and then you're driving, and then I hop on a bike, and everything's
Yeah.
like right here.
And we spend our entire time on bikes, bringing our shoulders together, leaning forward, arching, not arching our back. We want to have a flat back, but let's be honest, not a lot of people do in our sport, and that type of thing. And then we probably sit down when we're sitting in a chair. We do the classic hunch or something like that, which is not good, and it leads to this incredible muscle imbalance and things like that. And how much strength training, honesty time, how much strength training do you guys all do?
On a bike?
Yeah. No, not on a bike.
How do you train not on a bike?
Yeah. Okay. David just answered.
Regular season, probably, maybe once a month.
Really?
But then through the winter, I am good about doing like at least twice a week.
We all tend to stop doing that once
Yeah, in the
sun
summer.
comes out.
Absolutely. And then by midsummer, I'm like, my back hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything
But it is
hurts.
also tied into my job in a way. Like I do frequently just jump in with patients and like doing the exercises.
Yeah.
So I'll, just do a set with them and I'm like, that counts.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
So a little different than having to work your typical occupational job.
And Paul, have you noticed over time? I'm saying this because of the two of us here. We have been doing this for so long, and I'll notice it sometimes in longer rides where I'm reaching even back to my back jersey pocket, and things start to go, shoulders, back, necks, stuff like that. Like the long 4 or 5 hour rides, I can't reach my back jersey pocket, and I'm going, this is not just fatigue. This is fatigue of weakened muscles that need to fucking work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, I don't have a problem with that. I have my right's in bad shape because I've crashed in my collarbone.
So it's already
C-joint.
damaged.
Yeah, that was damaged. That's never been my flexibility has always been extremely good, so I don't have a problem with that. My neck is bad, and a lot of that because in a crash I got whiplash.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So so even now, if I sleep wrong, and then I was like, but I've worked on that a little bit. So
So I have the best posture out of all of us usually.
Really?
I mean, I feel like when I look around and I look at you and I'm just like, I gotta sit up straight.
My dad always used to say that too, but he used to say it to my sister, which had to have been a highly, chauvinistic thing to say. Like good posture. And my sister would always straighten her back and stuff like that. He wouldn't say it to me. You think he just didn't know I was there?
Maybe he had good
exist.
posture then.
Do you think I disappeared after that turn around the corner and hit the tree?
Yeah,
Do you think
he's
I've
like,
just been living in a
that's why when
dream
he
ever
turned around,
since?
he wasn't there. He's
Yeah.
just like, nah, I can't fix this.
It's
Molly, you're going to be my son.
You're all I got left.
That's great.
Who's got a race on the horizon?
Sam and I.
I guess
You
we
and
all
Sam.
do.
What are you and Sam doing?
Afraida in 2 weeks.
Oh,
Aren't
okay.
you?
Did you know that I was doing the same race?
I couldn't tell.
Are you doing the
Absent-minded.
same?
Hang on.
Are you doing the same
I
one?
thought this was the one that
Is it
you
the same race if we're like multiple miles and different,
Oh my God!
I know. I'm me.
You don't know.
I know. That was too far.
I
no,
thought this was.
it wasn't. It wasn't. It was fine.
I thought this was the one with the dog and something, and you couldn't find something for the dog.
I got
Is that in a text thread somewhere?
Jackson's gonna probably a text thread. Jackson's gonna take care of the dogs for me.
Are we carpooling?
No, I'm taking the RV the night before.
We're cuddling?
No.
Oh.
Let's not go there.
I'm taking the RV.
The spoon thing.
I'm
no.
taking the RV. I got a campsite with a full electrical hookup and water. I'm going to sleep in my own little bed. I'm going to have a frozen lasagna or something like that. And I'm going to watch
sounds amazing.
basketball on my satellite TV. I'm going to crash. I'm going to wake up about an hour and a half before the race.
Sounds really great.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't believe I didn't know that. I thought you were staying on with the dog.
No, I'm going.
All right, well, it's exciting.
And I'm not taking my road bike this year.
Good call.
2 years ago when I did it, I took my road bike. It was a good bike to take, but it was not a good bike for flats. I had 3 flats, and that was
Oh,
a
I
lot.
thought you meant for straight flats, not.
No,
you got
it was
flats.
great on the flats. There's a lot of road on that.
There's a
that
ton
course.
of road in the middle of the course.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got 3 flat tires?
Yep. Just standard clinchers though. They were all pinch flats.
On 25C tires.
Yep.
At 100 psi.
If you had
No, I was probably 90.
I was probably 120.
if you had tubeless, you could have just shot some goo all over the
Spray
person
all
behind
over
you.
everyone.
And
It's
taken
ran
them.
all over like that. See, did you hear that story?
No.
Well, you weren't there.
Yeah, because we're coming back on
God,
that
I
ride
have
that
lost
we
control of the
mentioned.
show already.
I know.
It's
but,
gone.
But this is the tubeless thing.
Yeah.
It was very similar to your deal at what is Chafe.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
Sam goes, I'm running tubeless. I'll take the bad side of the road, where all the gravel and stuff. And our new team member, Josiah's like going, hey,
It's raining.
spraying. It's all white. His seat tube just sprays all white. You got a leak there. He pulls over. He doesn't have two punctures. He
Looking
has
like-
one puncture. He's got two punctures.
Looking like Monica Lewinsky.
I don't need any more air. I'm fine.
I did make it home with no more air.
Really?
It
Yeah,
sealed itself.
it sealed itself.
Yeah. He's probably 20 psi on it,
It
It
could
wa-
have
it
maybe
was
actually had
squashing.
that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got.
but it did seal.
It
I have-
did.
I have
But
new-
we pulled over for about as long as it would take if you
Oh,
had clinchers
no
to change
way.
out a tube.
No way.
I can change a back tire tube within 2 minutes. I will show you sometime.
I could too. We should
And
race.
we were
should
there
do a
for
Packfiller
over
thing.
2 minutes,
There we
weren't
go.
we? We were there for more than 2 minutes.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
What were you doing?
He's just
Well,
pulling
it was
out
just-
all the crap that had punctured his car.
Oh.
They were actually literally embedded.
Yeah.
in
really?
one thing.
Yeah.
Why-
I probably shouldn't ride through this shit. And,
No. Even
just
though you
because I'm
got
like, oh, I'm in Vince Life tubeless.
it. Yeah.
Can I ask a personal question?
Yeah.
Sam?
What's up?
How much do you weigh?
195.
What are you going
Jesus.
to run PSI?
For Freda?
Yeah.
Great question. I always have to do that Silka thing.
I
I think
did,
that
yeah.
it's like.
60.
No, I think that it's like 40 front, 45 rear or something like that.
Yeah, but what with tires?
38 with very wide
There
rims.
you go. So it changes depending
Yeah,
on the width of the
Yeah,
tire.
and the rim is the widest on the market. It's like a 30 or something like that.
Okay. Because I was going to run like 60.
And what width?
I don't fucking know. No.
What do you have on your gravel?
Oh God, I just bought those tires too. Sam, what did I buy?
35s?
I think they're 38s.
38s?
I think it's 38. I
38s.
think we had this conversation.
Yeah,
I
we
had
did.
just bought the 38s, and I was like, I love
You
them.
said buy the 38s.
Yeah.
They're 38s.
A 60 would probably be fine, but I think you'd be more comfortable on little less.
Well, that doesn't
Because we
matter.
weigh like the same.
Yeah.
And you're going tubeless?
Yeah.
Okay.
On gravel, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. This should be interesting to play around with this. Are you guys racing for like a placing? David and Sam?
Depends.
I'm going to go on the record and say that we are racing for, like, doing well there. Because I think that between the two of us, we can do well. But I think that, and I'd like to give it a fair run because the last couple of years, one, I didn't know what I was doing. First ever gravel event, first ever gravel ride. And then last year, everybody's heard 1,000 times how many catastrophic events I had on the bike.
Yeah.
But, it'd be fun to give it a try. And
Are you going
think
to
of
check
it
your
as an
bottom
event.
bracket this year?
I'm going to do that.
Okay.
I'm going to go through the
Very
bike.
good.
Yeah.
Check the rear brake.
Oh,
I'm going to do
good.
that too.
That's good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I mean, I'm not going to race for the freaking win. I mean, those days are gone.
Yeah. But be competitive.
You
Yeah.
just got to earn your beers.
Exactly.
Well, do you think that
Spirit
because are
gravel.
you taking like a water pack?
Yeah, I just bought that. A sweet or whatever you
Good
call it behind your back.
What size? 1 or 1.5?
One.
We did one. I did 1.5, and he went through an entire one and
Yeah.
was out pretty quick.
Well, I'm taking 2 big bottles too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you'd probably be good because there's you can definitely skip the first feed
we're,
station.
we're
and go on to the
skipping.
second.
We're skipping ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you guys about fueling here.
Oh.
Now you're fucking up my show.
Oh, that's right. Again.
This is why we need Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys approach this similarly to sorry, Paul, to kind of exclusive this, but
Oh, no.
do you guys approach this in terms of tactically as you would a road race? I mean, are there attacking moments, or is this because of the distance, because of the terrain, because of that type of stuff? Does it change the game tactically?
This is a long road race.
Yeah.
For sure. It's, a couple climbs, a lot of flats, a lot of times draft. So I think you just treat this like a road race
Mm-hmm.
with a different bike.
So,
Mhm.
so with fueling then, since we're there.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, and this is now across the board, how do you guys feel this time of year? I'm talking training and racing. A couple weeks ago, Paul, we went out for I ended up with 3 hours, and I intentionally took along some kind of high carb kind of fuel I'm playing around with just to kind of get used to it. And I was thinking, okay, 3 hours I can do with. I don't know if I could trust myself enough to eat on time, and I also don't know if I can trust myself to drink on time. I have a difficult time reminding myself to do it. I've always been a kind of person who's drink when thirsty, eat when hungry, and that is not the way you do this. How do you guys go about this? How do you guys approach training and racing in terms of fueling?
I think I'm gonna answer probably the longer-winded question or answer here, because I think that for me, I was telling David on this trip, I was like, we really need to start eating food here, because like you need to train your gut that you have to like be able to get calories down as you're working, because like your body shunts blood away, right, from your stomach as you're trying to do a workout. And so it's hard to get your stomach to turn on and do this. And like it's something you need to train and work at, because otherwise you find yourself at the first event and you're like, slamming down a goo or whatever. And you're like, ugh. Fortunately, the maple syrup is like, that stuff is water. That goes
Untapped.
down so so easy. That is the best stuff. But we trained with that stuff when we were in Maui, getting all that down. And then as far as like how often, I always like, I'm really good about looking like, okay, either it's distance or time, right?
Okay.
And I'm usually like, I need to get at least some food down every hour, and that's on top of like the bottle. And I think I'm usually like, David, eat.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're looking over there with this absent-minded expression on your face. It's like,
I mean, I just listen to it all the time. I'm like, God, you could just eat and drink and then just shut up and ride. I mean, it'd just be so much easier. My philosophy is really easy. It's less than 2 hours. You put something in your bottles. If it's more than 2 hours, you might take a couple of extra calories, like from a bar or a gel.
that's
Untapped
we're going to
maple.
let David this year just do it all on his philosophy, and
cook.
nobody is going to interfere with it. And when we're like somehow beating him across finish lines because he's cracked halfway through the race, and be like, well, I don't know, maybe you should eat or drink or something.
It doesn't work out half the time.
Yeah.
So Jackson, I noticed, does this. He
has a
will,
timer.
He I don't know if it's a timer, but every hour on the hour, if I start a ride the same time he does, I can look down while he's eating something, and the hour mark has crossed.
I bet you. I don't know, man. I wonder if he has a timer, because he's such a calculated guy. He's just an assassin.
Yeah. He plans.
I used to every 30 minutes.
Yeah, you used to have an alarm that went off.
Every 30 minutes for some water and some food.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
On your watch or on your head unit?
On the head unit, just had a timer every 30 minutes to go off.
How much do you in an hour? So how much you in a longer event? What kind of amounts are you guys ingesting in that hour?
A bottle an hour at least.
Shit.
Bottle an hour at least, and then also I would try to get down like a gel or like maple syrup. Or like wafer bar or something. I just can't do heavy bars. I don't know about you guys. No. I can't do it. It takes too much water too to like get that down, like a thicker bar, you know? And you name it. It's just tough.
Yeah.
I agree.
Do either of you guys stop at the food stations?
I'm not paying to go slower, to stop for a slower time. If they would give me a hand up, I'd take it, but no.
Okay. Because I never have.
Yeah.
Paul, I don't know if you even did at the Coeur d'Alene one. Did you stop at the food station?
Yeah, by mile 80 or whenever around that time period, I was
Toast.
totally, I was cooked. I was by myself. I got dropped on the hill in the league group, and I had nobody to play with. It was no man's land for quite some time.
Yeah.
And then I just started coming unglued, so it was necessity to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
BWR, I stopped at every one. Because it was so hot, and I was just, all I had was bottles, and I was flying through them, and I just needed anything at that point in time. It was just feed me.
It
Seymour.
is a very interesting culture in the Grand Fondo events. How many people roll up and are just throwing their bottles at like the innocent volunteers
some
that
poor
are there, and they're
schmuck.
like,
Yeah.
"Fill my bottle!" And they're like, "Gotta go! I gotta go!" You know, and everybody's like panicking around it, and so to just bring your own stuff and not have to worry.
I
about
think I'm
that
going to
is-
do a lot of my own stuff.
a lot of your
yeah.
own stuff is what I recommend.
And only in case of emergency.
We
Yeah,
did have to
sure.
stop for water at Walla Walla.
yeah,
It was too-
yeah,
it was
it's
too hot.
way too hot.
Yeah.
What kind of things work better? If you have to do solids, what kind of solids are they?
The maple syrup.
That's not. I don't consider that a solid.
I'm gonna count it as a solid because that's
Do you?
about as like
Because you
that-
guys, so you guys
I
won't
can't.
do bars,
Yeah.
or
Maybe
shit like
shot
that.
box or
Yeah, shot blocks or those gummies. Yeah, those scratch gummies. I do use those.
The scratch gummies are good.
They, can Scratch like please figure out a better way to get them wrapped.
Packaging.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to like eat the wrapper the whole time.
Yeah.
You know. Does anybody else suffer?
No,
from that?
I do. I
Okay.
get it.
I'm glad that I'm not the only one
I'm-
here. I
you
just
know-
I feel like they like Cliff Bar kind of nailed it with like you could just tear off the,
The
top
box,
and you just like squeeze
the Cliff
it out.
blocks.
Yeah. Right.
And they're very easy to throw down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after a while, I remember Leadville, I was doing Cliff Bars. And about half a way into Cliff Bars, I was
Your mouth is.
just
Dry.
I don't want grain and chocolate chips anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want grain and chocolate chips ever again. So that was where I found those Cliff Blocks, and they worked really well with
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. How about recovery drinks?
Yes.
What is your recovery drink?
Scratch.
It is.
Strawberries.
You like the strawberries
It's
and
so
cream?
good. And your pro hack of the long time ago, you said this
Yeah.
on the show, is putting ice in there.
Absolutely. You got to get one of those shaker bottles.
Yes.
I almost did this.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
I did this.
Yeah.
And I'm on camera right now doing this.
We'll
guys-
edit that in.
you guys were just doing it looking at each other.
Yeah.
And then
Spooning.
I woke up sweating.
Yes.
So like that is like the greatest pro tip is I bring one of those post race,
Yeah.
and I'll just fill up the shaker bottle with I obviously don't bring ice when it's an event, but
No,
then I just put in whatever serving amount for that, and at the end of my race fill
Yeah.
that up with water and you're good to go. It makes recovery so much better. It's huge.
It's a bizarre mixture.
I take it when you give it to me.
You do.
That's another one of those things I'm like,
Yeah.
you're gonna need this because we're riding tomorrow.
Okay. How about has anybody tried tart cherry juice?
I tried the tart cherry gummies.
Really?
They were good.
Tart cherry juice, I was reading about, you'd see a lot of the pros at the end of races with a little vial.
Yeah.
And someone was saying it was like a tart cherry juice concentrate.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
what
it
it
is.
is,
Yeah. But I Trader Joe's sells tart cherry juice. And it's, I don't know if you guys have had it. It's really good. It is like, oh, I'm just drinking this every day now.
So
And
what is it? And maybe the doctor would know.
Yeah,
why there's got to be something in that helps recovery. You know?
I just remember the
the
sugar.
only thing
I mean,
like,
because you might,
aspect
if
of-
it's a juice, it's basically sugar that makes you feel good
Yeah.
because you are low on count.
Yeah.
But there's got to be something in there for if everybody's doing tart. Well, what do you use for gout?
But allopurinol and colchicine? What are you
No,
talking
but there don't you
Can we
take
have some of that?
Don't you like tart
Allopurinol.
I don't even know how to pronounce it.
cherry juice too? I think that's
Oh.
something they encourage. I don't
about?
know.
It might be. I
Yeah.
don't know
So there
about
must
that.
be some kind of product in there.
Is it?
Same like tonic water for
I've also
cramping.
known of them using like beet juice. You know.
Yeah.
Tonic water is because there's a quinine in it.
See,
Yeah.
and there's got to be something in the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in the cherry tart juice.
Want another beer?
Yeah. Libbity-libbity-libbity.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Thank you, Paul. So we don't know. Look that one up in your massive medical books. Or
Yep.
there.
I'm
I
gonna
think
do it.
there's this mythical library that David has access to. That he walks into.
It does exist.
Opens it's got to be like double doors, and you open it up. I don't think I have the sound effect. I wish I had. The only thing I have close enough is he opens the doors and it's just this. Oh,
Yeah.
Let me find the cure. I'm nominated. I'm a Dominos. And then he walks in, and then it's like smoke swirling around, and these magical
He's mixing
things
potions. And
Do you
It's
do
all
theater?
mumbo jumbo.
Do
Yeah,
you do theater?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I would love to have a library like that.
It'd be
but
pretty cool.
It's
Now it's just your laptop.
there's like stuff on the internet that you have to have a medical license to access.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah,
YouTube.
There's YouTube MD. Yeah,
YouTube empty.
yeah,
Everybody's gonna go look that up now.
Yeah.
That's not
How about fueling mistakes? Anybody got a good fueling mistake story? And Paul, this can go even to the phrase to the time period of, I don't know about you, but Nature Valley granola bars, where we would eat these things, and it was like swallowing gravel while you were anaerobic and trying to drink anything you could. It was like swallowing a cheese grater.
The green
Yeah.
wrap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Two
That was all
bars.
we had. The
Yeah, oh
soft
my
granola
gosh.
bars didn't come out for another 10 years.
you guys.
The chewy granola bars were fucked up when we first found them. It's like, what the hell? They're
Yeah.
soft. Are they raw?
Yeah, how do you know? I mean, the other ones
They
would
didn't
chew
cook
up
'em.
your roof of your mouth. And you knew you had one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah, it was
And then you suck in.
yeah. It's not gravel. It's the sharp gravel, that you don't want to walk on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's bad though? I was doing that in college because they were cheap at Costco. I was eating the Nature Valley bars,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and I would choke, I would cough. You'd get something stuck on the back of your
Yeah.
throat, and you'd cough for like 30 minutes.
I start watering.
Yeah. It was
It's
horrible.
terrible. Yeah.
So, fueling mistakes. Has anybody? Sam's nodding his head already.
I'll find the photo so you can post it. There's a great photo of me with like a gel shot in my mouth as we're like sprinting because I'm like in a crit and I'm trying to take one and then they like take off. So I just
Okay. I thought
start
it was
sprinting.
like final 200 meters.
No,
You're
no,
like,
no, no.
This will help me.
Yeah, but it was like probably because I figured 15 minutes before the sprint, and I start just crushing those things. Like I'm like, oh, I need all of it.
Yeah.
And
Oh, shit.
sure enough, like with 2 laps to go, my stomach, I'm like, oh, my stomach.
Really?
It was just like knives going through, and I'm
Okay,
like,
so it's crampy pain, not
yes.
poopy pain.
No, cramping
Okay.
pain. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, well, this is what everybody else does. Famous last words.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like you try something that you don't normally do on race day. And I'm like, I'm going to crush all of these. And I had like 3 gel packs.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Paul, have you made the
Mine was
mistake?
more afterwards because, again, going back in the old days, Fig Newtons were
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
That was the other. That was the soft food shit. I
Yeah.
forgot
And I
about
got a
Fig
good
Newtons.
story on that because,
Do those make you poop?
yeah, at the end,
When you
when
want to.
it was fully processed, then you're sitting there going, woo,
Turtle head.
Man, I could have gone through an eye of a needle at 40 paces, I swear. So
Paul's butthole. The poop's like, hey, what's going on out here? I think I'll take a little mosey out. Hello?
Oh, my gosh.
I had a teammate of mine
Poop is
where
funny.
we were right towards the end of the race. We had probably another 10 miles, and I'm like, oh, man, I need just a little bit. And he goes, here, I've had some Fig Newtons. And that's what you had.
Yeah.
Thank you. I popped it in my mouth. Now, most people put those in a bag. There's a reason because that,
Oh, no.
the cake on the outside of that, and it was in Yakima, the treetop, 80-degree weather.
Yeah. Great race.
So, yeah, it was a great race and hot. And so I popped that thing in there, and it's like sucked all the moisture out of my mouth, and then I'm gagging. And I'm trying to find, and I barely got any water. And so I'm in the back of
Paul with
this
his
group
back
of
arched.
6 guys going. I said, "Do you got any water?" He goes, "I need some for me." And he was a great teammate.
Yeah.
He gave me a dried out Fig Newton, and yeah, that was no good.
Oh,
I was
shit.
like tears running, all the moisture. I can't waste this moisture. I'm trying to cram it back.
Oh,
in my
my
eyes.
God.
You're drinking your tears.
Yeah,
Yeah.
salty. So
Oh.
David, you ever effed up a fueling?
I think it's hard to say, even though I feel like I have a pretty sensitive stomach. I can kind of eat whatever, and like,
Yeah.
I don't think, as long as I'm eating, it's, probably because I just don't usually eat on the bike. So as long as I'm eating, I'm doing better than usual.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have bonked more times than I can
Care to
mention.
count, yeah.
But there was, and it's funny you mentioned the treetop, Paul, because if you've had treetop apple juice, great, multiple juice, stuff like that.
We might want to hold. That was a sponsor.
Yeah.
Treetop, I don't know if they're around anymore, but they made apple juice because it's in Yakima.
It's still
For
around.
those who are not around this area, that is
Apple
Washington
juice,
apples, and-
pineapple
Yeah,
apple
they had
juice,
blends and
pear
stuff.
apple
Yeah.
juice. And the sponsor, as they were the title sponsor of this race, they had barrels on ice of these canned juices everywhere. Like not little 8-ounces, like 12-ounce cans. So I was a junior, and what do we do before our crit? Free juice, brute, free juice. I drank like 6 cans of juice before a race, and that acidity hit me, and it wasn't poop pain, but it was cramp. It was just like, what is happening to me? I felt like what's his name from Alien, where I was gonna lie on a table and it was just gonna put its head out of my stomach. It was, oh god, everything hurt so bad. My coach got so
Was that
pissed.
in the crit or the road
It
race?
was a crit.
Oh, that crit was brutal.
Yeah.
So
I
you
had to
would,
climb
as a
it.
gradual downhill,
Yeah.
and you grabbed all this elevation about a half a block up to the start finish. You had a left hand turn, but
Yeah.
that would be not the place because you're grunting it out over the top of that hill, so that
Yeah.
would be bad.
What do you guys do when you attend an event and they are sponsored by a different fuel like that, and you're thinking to yourself, I'm dying of thirst. I pull up to an aid station like a gravel race or even a neutral feed, and they're handing out bottles, and it's insert brand X here.
Hammer Nutrition.
Oh, wow. Okay, this event
Just
not
saying.
sponsored by Hammer Nutrition anymore.
Are we not? Are we?
24
We're
hours.
not. The 24 hour is.
Okay,
but
well,
yeah.
that's unfortunate because it's always. I feel like that maybe that's because they
They
do a lot of Northwest.
They do
stuff.
great marketing. I'm not going to disagree with you. And I know some people who it doesn't sit well with.
If
I
you
know.
haven't had the Enduralites from
Yeah.
them, those kick ass.
Really?
Yes. Those are little salt pills.
Oh,
You
okay.
should look into those.
Why are you always saying I
Because
have
I've
some
seen
sort of a
you on a
weakness?
bike ride and you are like caked in salt.
Oh, I thought you were saying it's because I couldn't handle a long ride, and I'm like,
No!
bitch, please. If there's
Yes,
anything
if there's
I can do,
anything that you
let's
can
go
beat
long.
us at, it is a long bike ride.
I'm waiting for. I hope afraid. I hope one of you guys has the worst. day of your life.
by and you're gonna laugh.
I will come alongside you like Paul's wife did when I was in a marathon with her, and we went out of the CP and I went out of the gates like we were stud, like we were freaking, barefoot from a faraway country and just flying ass. We just thought we were cool, and then about mile 18, I look back and there's Paul's wife, and she has the energy left not only to pass us, but to click her heels in the air. I had bloody nipples left and right.
It was terrible.
I was
terrible.
I was a horrible image, and I'm hoping that for you guys. I'm hoping
That's
that I come along. You guys just go classic Waples and just end up with this.
Blow our doors
We're
off.
going for it at mile 6,
Yeah.
or something like
Mile
that.
1.
Mile 1.
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
then mile 78, I kind of go, is that? Well, one of them's in a club jersey. The other one's in some Castelli bullshit.
Nice.
So that must be Sam and David, because Sam never wears the kit. He doesn't promote shit, even though it's fucking logos on the back of the jersey. That is them. I think I'll catch them. And then I'm going to go past you, get off my bike, and click my heels in the goddamn air.
Okay, I'm gonna bring us back to the original question, and I will say,
What was it?
It was nutrition, and on the
Jackson?
bike, if there's a different company there that is sponsoring it.
Yes, what do you
and
guys
what
do in
I
those
do is
situations?
I have bought those little scratch independent pouches, and I just bring those with me,
does deserve a bell, wherever
and I'll just get water wherever we're at, and then I put those in, and I've got my scratch
That's a good
nutrition.
way to
Because
do
crossing that, I honestly think that there are great nutrition companies out there, and just because they don't sit well with me doesn't mean it's a bad nutrition company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I think it's like sugar alcohols or something like that, or like whatever that is in Hammer has given me a headache. Then there's like the SIS I've tried, and that gave me a bit of a stomach cramp. But it just didn't sit well with me and in my biology.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, I think that find what works for you. But I would recommend bringing and just get water.
Paul, I don't know about you.
He just drinks water.
No, absolutely nothing phases me. We went through the years of Max.
The orange.
Cytomax.
No, it wasn't. It was just Max.
Uh-huh.
This was before Cytomax.
Oh,
it was
really?
just Max, and it was this tomato red shit.
Oh, yeah.
That, and I think I've said it on the show. If you got it on your bike, and if it dried on your bike, it
Staying
wouldn't come
there.
off. It wouldn't come off
It
And you're
probably
putting
didn't-
this in your body.
Probably didn't come off your colon either.
by the
No,
gallon.
it's still
Still
hanging
there.
in there.
By the gallon. We were drinking this shit by the gallon.
Why wouldn't you just drink Tang? You know, it seems like something you guys would
That's-
do back,
that was only
back in
used
the
for
day.
this.
Kool-Aid.
That was if you're going in space.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay,
Only the
my bad.
astronauts could
Yeah.
use that.
Yeah.
God, what an idiot.
Jesus, it was a government commodity, man. You had to save it for those guys.
I couldn't afford those mixed
Really?
drinks. No,
I had
not
Exceed.
when I started.
Exceed was a good
Exceed
one.
was a big push there for a while,
Yeah.
but that also was. I mean, when we would have bikes come in the bike shop, and it's like my shifting just like in the middle of the ride just started
Yeah.
like it wouldn't shift, and you'd look and it'd just
full of
be
sugar.
because it would just run down the down tube
Yeah.
and run that cable guide and yeah.
Also the
horrible
old
stuff.
school
And you couldn't
water
use
bottles.
solvent. You had to use water. You just sprayed water and dilute.
Yeah.
That
I
was
feel
the
like
only
you
way.
have to have an old school water bottle in here somewhere.
I guarantee I do. There's one right behind you. It's
Oh
just
God,
in
yeah. That thing probably like leaked more water than it did, like actually hold it.
But Laurent Fillon had one.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
don't
that's
even know who that is.
Yes, I do.
Really?
He lost the tour.
That was going to be a
His
lady.
only memory.
Yeah.
Oh no.
He never won it. He only
Yes, he
lost
did.
it. I know he did.
Yeah, okay.
Somewhere a grave in France, the
Yeah.
earth is
I know.
rumbling
I
a little
know.
bit because he's rolling.
Now,
right
speaking of that
Wait, is
guy
he
used to
dead?
supposedly, yes,
I actually
he
didn't
died
know
of
that.
cancer.
Okay, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he used to go out on 8-hour bike rides. Supposedly, this is legend, without water or food. He trained that way purposely to be able to get when he was in a bad situation, he could fight mentally through it.
Wow.
There was a guy that I knew over on the west side of the state that would go out for 80-plus mile bike rides with 2 hard-boiled eggs in his pocket, and that's it.
Filthy animal. That's disgusting.
Just peeled hard-boiled eggs in his pocket.
Disgusting.
He'd
Are you
just pull
saying-
that out, and he'd just start eating a
Are you saying
hard-boiled egg.
filthy animal as a vegetarian? Or are you saying filthy animal as...
Putting 2 boiled eggs in your pocket doesn't matter what your diet is. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
You don't even leave nature's
gonna
packaging
eat-
on the outside with the
Yeah.
shell.
Yeah.
You're just going to put 2 boiled eggs in your pocket and call it
Yeah.
good.
in a bag?
It's like salting.
I don't know. I didn't ever see the bag.
Okay,
Oh.
well,
It was literally just in his pocket.
Did you like take lint, rub it off before you?
He just, yeah.
That's not
And
something.
he wouldn't even finish the whole thing in one bite. He just ate it and he
Oh.
put that back.
Okay, that's
Oh,
fucked
I'm like-
up. That's
It
fucked
was
up.
wild. This guy was wild.
Jackson eats 2 hard-boiled eggs before rides.
before at home, like a decent, cultured individual, not on a bike ride out of a sweaty pocket. It's been sitting in the sun for 3 hours or
He-
whatever.
Wow.
Interesting.
We had a sensitive little
Yeah,
topic with
mustache.
David, didn't
Yeah.
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
we? Okay. All right. Okay, yeah. What's your... Okay, here's the last question about fueling. What's your secret last bottle in a feed zone? Paul, I know that we grew up in the era of half water, half Coke. What is that final shot of whatever it is, EPO in your ass, methamphetamine, whatever it might be? What is that shot that you're like, I need this in order to make it through the finish? If you had a perfect soigneur with a bottle hand up to you with like 3 miles to go, what would it be?
I think a Barks root beer. Cold.
Barks root beer?
Yeah.
Oh. What's the benefit of that? Just
Sugar.
flavor and happy?
And it's caffeine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not much. Is
There's
there?
actually quite a bit of caffeine in it. I thought there was none.
Really?
But there is, a fair amount of caffeine in that.
Okay.
It's gotten me home many times.
Paul?
I
Water.
I couldn't afford it. It was just water. So like back in the day, but we did. We
Yeah, but
went
what's
through
your
the period
what's your
was-
thing now?
Well, it would have been
Leftover
Coke.
ramen broth from
Coke
last night.
it was the answer, and it
Yeah.
was for everybody. Yeah, and if
Flat.
I am hammered, bonked, if I can get to a store and get a Coke and choke it down,
Yeah.
that'll save my soul.
You know what? I bet you is his thing now. A good Belgian ale.
Yeah,
Have that
Oh.
at the end,
Yeah.
and he'd get home.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking
It's like
like
a
during
carrot.
the ride. And the gas station savior drink is
Yeah.
what I should have
Oh,
Yeah,
asked.
Red
that's
Bull.
exactly right.
Red Bull.
Mine's
Bull's
Coke.
brought me
Coke
out.
definitely.
Mine's Coke and a Gatorade. I will buy one of each. I will slam as much of the Coke as I can. and then I'll pour the Gatorade in what's left of my bottle. So if there's water in my bottles, I'll dilute it a little bit, and I'll drink that on the rest of the way home. And I know it's all sugar. David's just shaking his head.
No, I would do a Coke. That's usually if I'm bonked at a gas station, it's a Coke.
Yeah.
Ideally, the little glass bottle one that has cane
Oh.
sugar.
Yeah, the Mexican.
Yeah. That's the only one.
If I have to go the Red Bull route, it is like start the timer.
Like,
Because I'm about to
Code Red.
implode
Yeah.
in like
Yeah. Get me to a hospital.
Yeah,
in like
45
7
minutes, and I am dead on the side of the road if I'm not there.
Okay. Well, that took longer than I thought because you guys just wouldn't stop talking, kind of a thing. So like that. So we got to get to the news. We got to get to the news fast because we got a good chunk of news. Latest news headlines brought to us by our friends at Untapped Maple. It's funny enough, pure Vermont maple, quick to get down, and caffeinated, salted, or clean choices from pure Vermont maple syrup. I just bought a multi-pack, which you can buy, and it's the box that comes and it has 4 of each. And they are like, have the regular before the race. Have the one with a little salt in the midpoint of the race. Right, Sam? Because I apparently have a salting problem.
You do.
And then at the end, have the coffee one or something like that. Give you
good
that
call.
little jolt or something like that. Yeah, they're sweet. David sold. Yeah,
Salted raspberry. I only do
yeah.
the espresso one. I think it's so good.
yeah. I still have the bourbon maple
Mm-hmm.
left.
Same. I'm trying to make a drink.
They taste a little interesting on a bike ride. Little bourbon shot.
Yeah.
Whee.
I think it needs to be I think it needs to be cold. Like now is the right time to do
It
that.
is. It is. Yeah, I won't be doing those in
No,
July.
summer.
Pat's favorite classic didn't fail to entertain. And, oh, by the way, Tadej Pogacar is human. He bleeds. The Great Strada Bianca was held this weekend with a distance change to attempt to join the remain of the monuments. Join the realm of the monuments, and to say it was a battle of attrition would be an understatement, boys and girls. The women's edition, first and foremost, was a battle to the final between immortal Anna van der Breggen and the newest leader and greatest investment that FDJ has ever made, Demi Vollering, with Vollering launching the final monster climb to take the win. First of all, who caught both races of Strada Bianca?
I got one.
You caught one.
I did.
Paul?
I just got the men's and
Just
then
got the
watched the highlights.
So you got highlights, okay?
Highlights of the
Yeah.
men's.
Okay,
Yeah.
I caught both. Was this a surprise with Demi Vollering taking the victory? I don't think. I think we all. Well, who was in the studio? Did we all pick
picked
Demi?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
What is this saying for her season, and what is this saying for the women's peloton? Seems to be going through, and I don't mean this is condescending, almost like a growing pain of some sort, where they're coming from this dominating performance by a team like SD Works, and now there was strife internally. Paul, it reminds me very much of the Renault leading to La Vie Claire days, where you had this super team, and then another team comes from the ashes, and it's gonna hopefully change the game.
Well, I think on SD Works side of things, Van der Breggen is 3 years out without racing, and now she's getting into it. She did very well. Kopecky hasn't raced yet against Vollering, so I think that mixture is going to put damper on. Vollering's going to need her
You got
team
depth
a
there.
lot,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot, and they did very well. She had a lot of team help at Strada Bianca, but I think if they had full force, SD Works would be interesting.
Yeah, it was a good race. I wanted the men's
A lot
race.
of crashes.
A ton. Kashini Widoma. Just, oh my God, that was when I kind of. I think I know I started watching it before then, but I came into the room right when her crash happened, and facial lacerations and things like that. Fortunately, she's okay. Yeah, but it was all superficial wounds. But that was a scary one for the past Tour de France.
You don't want to run into
winner.
a guardrail. That's
No.
Yeah.
I think we've all learned that, right, Sam?
Yeah.
Yep.
The men's race was also hampered by a crash, this time in the form of Tadej showing a rear wheel slide out that, a BMX rider would be proud of. On road, mind you, he did that slide out, and I know Paul has thoughts on this. Go ahead.
So, yeah, the thing is he
Either
said
rim brakes or
No.
tires? No.
Well, I think there's position because of the push for, and this is part of my segment too later on.
Okay. We'll
But
get to it
there
later.
is a position thing that shorter cranks puts you into, and I think Sam might be touching that also. But I think that's some of it. If you look like our traditional where the center of gravity is, when you're going around the corner. Now, mind you, he missed the apex.
Yeah.
And there's not much recovery, and he puts the blame all on himself. But it's strange when you do that to have the back wheel kick out. That's the part that threw me off. It's usually your front wheel is the first one to go. But because it was a look sandy, most of the crashes, both men and women, happen on the pavement, by the way, not the gravel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting.
And what something that was pretty damn impressive with the strength of Tom Pidcock. Now, he wasn't obviously at that level when the final attack came, the final acceleration came. But I've read some articles that are saying we need more of Tom Pidcock, people who are not afraid to necessarily take on Tadej and say, hey, I know you might be the strongest guy out here, but we got to at least try. And he at least gave that effort. There was the moment after the crash where there's this discussion back and forth all over the internet right now saying, was it the ultimate sportsman maneuver to wait for Tadej, or was it realism sinking in going, I don't have a chance to beat this guy. If he starts hitting the gas and catches me, I will burn all my matches beforehand.
Danielle and I were watching, and she asked why he was waiting. I was like, well, he knows. Like, he's like, if I wait, at least at least it's a win-lose, right? Like, he gets to look good for waiting.
Yeah.
He's still gonna lose, but if he tries to go for it, he just looks like he tried to take advantage of the crash, and he still loses.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it was kind of getting at what you're talking about. Yeah, he made the attacks and everything, and he wasn't afraid to take him on, but then he kind of was afraid. And I think he didn't go for it because he knew he couldn't get away at that point. So he kind of was afraid. Like, when he crashed, why didn't he then? That was his real chance, right?
Yeah, I mean, because I'm kind of in that same realm with you. Like, if I think that is super pro sportsmanship to like wait for somebody, but it was his fault.
He was in the front,
what was his
right?
fault?
The crash.
The crash.
No, it wasn't.
It was Tadej's fault.
Oh,
that's what.
So I thought you said it was Pidcock's
it was
fault.
his,
Like,
and it was
what?
Tadej's fault. So it's like if you cause something, then I think it's like okay, let's all get back together, and sometimes just accidents happen in a group, but that is like very clearly he caused his own crash. I would have probably left him.
And he wouldn't have caught that.
Knowing that, I mean, I would have gotten
after
caught,
Maui.
but I still yeah. I mean, I had Maui under my belt, so. But yeah, like I just think that case cool. Still, I think that I can't shame Tom for doing that, but it's one of those things like you don't need to.
I would like to see him go for it though.
Yeah.
I think what happened. I think he was smart on the original attack when I think it was Wellens was the last one that was going up the climb. Instead of waiting for Tadej to go, he went. I thought that was clever. And then it broke it up. There was no decision. Then those two were isolated. Then he can focus just on. I thought that was clever of Pidcock doing that. When the crash happened, you got to give Pidcock, he can handle a bike because that kind of forced his line out and he was able to save it and stuff. But I don't think he necessarily set up immediately. I think he just kept riding. And I think he, in my opinion, by his style of riding, when Pogacar got back on the bike and started closing the gap, that's when he decided to really pull the pin.
Yeah.
It's like he's getting words like, okay, now he's 30 seconds, 25. And it's like, I'm going pretty hard.
Oh, shit.
I'll blow myself up trying to stay away from the guy. I'll have a better chance of maybe attacking. My thought, if I was Pidcock, I'll push it on the downhill because he's crashed. He's already kind of like wounded. Yeah. Not only that he's going to question his lines, that type of thing. That's my only chance to win. I thought that was a clever. That's the best way I think he could have played it.
If you're the director at UAE and the entry form for Paris-Roubaix crosses your desk, what do you do when it comes time to add or subtract Tadej Pogacar's name now that this has happened? We've had a crash. We've seen what a crash can potentially do to a rider's season. 2 years ago, Tadej Pogacar had a crash and broke his wrist, and he lost the Tour. Very likely because of that. Jonas Vingegaard had a crash last year. Very likely lost him the Tour, regardless of what could have been. These early season races are hectic, and that's not including the monster that is Paris-Roubaix. And there are these rumors bouncing around about Tadej. Now, does he want to add a Paris-Roubaix victory to his career, and is this the ultimate time in which to do that at your physical peak, when you're at your most dominating greatness, or do you say a Tour de France win is more important? What do you do if you're a team director in that situation?
Selfishly, I want Tour because I'm going to be there. I want to see Tadej there performing well. So,
Yeah.
like, I want him to save everything for that. And I would say then also I would go for the Tour because that's a very limited window that you have in doing that. You see older riders win one-day monuments.
Yeah.
Not to say that that's an easier event in any stretch of the imagination. It's just I think you could still win that at an older age as opposed to I don't think you really have that opportunity as much in the Tour.
Paul?
I think
David doesn't have anything. He's just waiting for Peter Sagan to come back.
I heard it's coming.
Yep.
yeah.
Coming.
I think Toddy made a statement last year, and people were like, well, what? I want to be the greatest cyclist ever.
Yeah.
How do you do that? It's not waiting for the Tour and Tour, okay, then I'll do this. A lot of people that follow stats, you look at somebody Merckx who won, let's say, well, I'm sure he won 7 Milan-San Remos, and he won a Giro and a Tour at this. I mean, that spreads it thin as opposed to like the one we never speak of. That was his focus. Now he had like the Criterium Dauphiné.
Did he win an Amstel Gold?
No, I think he got second, third, or something like that. But he tried to win that. But that's about it. He never tackled any of those. Le Mans at least tried, but that was that time period too. So the greats. When you think of greats, Fausto Coppi won Paris-Roubaix.
Yeah.
Won the
Bernardino.
Giro, won the Bernardino. Yeah, those are the two greats, and that's what he's after. And all in the same season, too. It's not like targeting one. But we live in a different time.
Yeah.
And money is the incentive here. And if you own UAE, they're like, hey, listen, yeah, that's pretty cool, but our money is, everybody makes their money on the Tour, not Paris-Roubaix. But what do you say with a talent like? Because because he's able to win Flanders and win the Giro and the Tour and the Worlds all in 1 year. That's at like cherry on top of the Tour de France.
Yeah.
So I'd say let him go. I don't think there's a problem with that.
Just see what happens.
It's far enough away. I mean, unless something really tragic happens, but that could happen on a training ride, really.
Yeah, I mean, it
Look
has.
at Egan Bernal. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly. So, Okay, good. Thank you. That was a great way to explain it. Before I have several other news stories, but I'm running short on time. So one I do want to touch base upon was today's time trial stage, team time trial stage in Paris-Nice, which they altered the format, where it became this concept where it wasn't the fourth rider across the line. Was it fourth? Usually fourth.
Yeah.
It was whenever you came across the line, and how that affected not only the overall of each team, but it affected the overall of the race. And it seems like an interesting idea. Personally, I thought I was kind of excited about it because for once it finally doesn't make the team time trial a complete destroyer of teams without the time trial prowess or the budget to, put a bunch of bikes on a car and create a backdraft that pushes your team forward. Those types of things. And it just seemed like it was a really cool concept. And I don't know if other Grand Tours are going to jump onto it, but it just seemed kind of cool. Anybody have any thoughts on that whole concept? No?
I don't actually know what you're talking about, but so it was at the first rider across the line.
As you finish.
Oh,
So
like,
so the whole idea is that in the past, somebody like Tadej's team, if he didn't have a good, strong team, there were more hill climbers because that's the way they stay. When the team time trial, could lose 2 minutes or 3 minutes to some team that had like muscle.
Yep.
And you had to have, and it was the time after that fourth wheel across, so you had to stay together.
You had to keep at least 4 riders.
What's cool about this format is you have domestiques and you have like Stefan Kuhn, who's not going to win. He's going to go for a stage maybe, but he can be out in front right at the midsection. Like you can determine what section, this is where we need you the most. And he lays down the power and he can just like pull the pin and not worry about it. And you can actually try and time so your GC guy crosses the line at the fastest time, as opposed to it being penalized by his lackeys.
Yeah.
So
for example, today, Visma Lisa bike won, and Matteo is now first overall, and Jonas is in second, but followed instead of by multiple teammates, which is what it used to fall into that situation. It's now two riders, Michael Matthews and somebody else from Jacob Alula. So it's the overall
That's
is
cool.
not all one team.
That's
it just
cool.
seems like a really cool idea.
Yeah.
And I don't see any
it's just
downsides to it.
The only downside to all TTs is those damn helmets. So
Disc brakes, electronic shifting.
those stupid helmets.
So
They're
bad.
dumb and ugly.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So that takes us to the end of the news. And it's time for segments, everybody. Thanks to our friends at Competitive Cyclists. Use the LBS, but when you can't find it, be sure to hit up Competitive Cyclists for those rarities that are on the must-have list. Do it today. Use our link at packfiller.com. Thanks so much. First off, we're going with Fit Tips. We're going with... Whoa, I got to play your theme.
Me.
I got to play Sam's theme. Fit Tips with Bike Fit Sam from Ambassador Cycling. Get fit to get fit. Go to ambassadorcycling.com. This was interesting because it talked about the shorter cranks conundrum and the situation surrounding those. And I quote the question, quote unquote, outside of the obvious seat height, what adjustments are needed for proper fit when you're going with these extremely short cranks? And do you take center of gravity into proper fit?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that one, Sparky?
Yeah, so I mean, it also does adjust the fore and aft of your saddle, which I think is like, the other biggest adjustment. I would think that with the shorter crank arms, it's going to pull you a little bit further forward because like in the back position, the 9 o'clock position, as we would call it.
Yeah.
You're not as far back, so it weights you further forward a little bit, which I think makes the handlebars a little bit too heavy. You can't
Crash
get enough.
prone, Paul?
I don't know. That's what I don't know. I don't fit that many short cranks. I get asked the question all the time, but I still have 175s because that's what feels natural to me. And I could see there's actually for me, there's arguments that I wouldn't go below 172.5.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, for taller people, it's just it doesn't make sense. It's
Big
a lot of that
circles
mid-range.
go fast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Make lots of power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom.
But yeah, I think that it's totally rider preference, but I would say dependent upon if you go to a shorter, I've seen people go down to 160s, like a pretty, like a 5'11" human go down to 160s. And I'm like, there's a lot of weird things going on with that. It's just really cramping you up, and you have to have everything very specific unless you're going to end up with imbalances in the bike. The bike's not meant to be ridden like that unless name your bike brand, designed it around that one. If you buy a frame and put those on, they probably weren't designed around having that crank on there.
Plus, they got to represent the Lollipop Guild.
Yes.
People that short.
Yes.
That's smart. Short.
Yes.
I did it.
I was going to comment earlier that your bar stool looks really low at this bar.
It's
I wonder
helping
if
my back.
His back
is
did you lower it tonight?
I lowered it
You should have sat in
20 minutes
Jackson's.
ago.
He has a little baby booster
it might
kind of
have-
thing
it might
there.
help, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been good.
It's not too bad.
Okay, thanks, man. Thanks. That's an interesting
Good
one.
question.
Are we gonna go with? Are we gonna go with David? Are we gonna go with David? Should we go with David? Should we go with David? Yeah, little boy in us. Where's my theme?
Whee!
There it is. There it
The
is.
best one.
Ask Dr. David. I'm not gonna lie. I came up with this one, and because there's this, we live in the time of fear. Fear drives news. Fear drives everything. Everybody's terrified of somebody coming and taking something. And long COVID, I wanted to ask you about. I've read stories about people still suffering from long COVID and the effects of it. What's the likelihood of it, in your opinion, and should we be terrified of it?
Good question. Likelihood, I believe, is less than. It's in the 5 to 10% of people that get COVID infections, significant COVID infections, will end up with some long COVID symptoms. We're primarily talking about prolonged shortness of breath, brain fog, and the fatigue that you get with the initial infection. Those are like the three big ones that we look at. There is really good, very robust studies on the fact that we are seeing long COVID in, more so than we saw with previous viral infections. I don't know that we really understand why it's happening, other than COVID it does a lot to your immune system, it does a lot to your body. It can cause a lot of, long-term problems or short-term problems, but there are people that have shortness of breath and brain fog and fatigue that goes on for months afterwards.
Wow.
So it's definitely something to be mindful of and recognize that if you had a pretty severe COVID infection and you're experiencing those things, that might be part of what's, causing you to still feel run down and, your exercise tolerance is low or whatever. I don't think we need to be terrified of it, though. It tends to, I hate to say it, but it tends to, vaccination does protect you against having long COVID. I'm not, I'm a doctor, obviously, so I'm going to always push for vaccines, but
I was going to ask
you
the
moron?
question
Exactly.
too, obviously that's going to help with even preventing the infection, but I thought that there were studies out there, and it's just that it's been a while since I've looked into this stuff, but that maybe vaccines, if you had long COVID and you got vaccinated, post-infection and everything, once things are going away, can maybe help clear up some long COVID symptoms.
There were some trials that showed that people who got vaccinated after the initial infection, but during their period of long COVID, had quicker recovery from their long COVID symptoms. So another win for vaccination in that regard. And then the other stuff is just if you're suffering from it, it's just the regular be healthy lifestyle stuff. Don't drink, sleep a lot, get lots of vitamin D and sunshine, make sure that you're treating your body well. You should still exercise, but don't push it. Understand that your body's still recovering from something, but I don't think it's something we need to be terrified of. I do think it's another potential reason people should be getting their annual vaccines for COVID and flu and all of the other ones. But I hope that sheds some light on what it is. But we don't have great treatment options for it. The best thing to do is just to stay healthy and not get COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, personally, I think that your entire vaccination thing is completely unproven.
Well,
And
Anyway.
the thing is,
Yeah. Sorry. Insert political.
I was going to say, wait,
Yeah.
weren't you not going to do that?
I know, but I mean, it's a certain. Never mind.
that was a good one.
Thank you. I that was my RFK impersonation. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
I killed a bear, and I brought the head home on top of the car.
That's half a Reardon
Yeah.
where I grew up. So what?
So what? Bear was asking for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Speaking of
Hunting
which,
season.
let's go to Changing Times with Paul Main.
There we
This
go.
one, I love how you always send me a theme, which is great. There's the words to describe it. This one is specifically entitled In the Design with Paul Main. What's up, Chief?
Yeah, so, just to saddle up next to the topic of shorter cranks with Sam, you were a frame builder, so was I.
I was, yeah.
And back in the day when we do custom frames, everything was taken in consideration. So the standard bottom bracket height that that you'll see on bikes is designed for 170, 175 cranks, and it's for striking pedals, that type of thing. If people are going to start putting shorter cranks, what happens is, like you said, you're going to jack that seat up, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. No, you
Yeah,
lower
no,
it.
it goes,
Lower
no,
it.
it goes up.
Yeah, lower it, but you go
Yeah.
forward
Yep.
and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So your center of gravity is changed from that bike. So when you descend, what's the first thing you do? If you're going down a steep hill and you're going around a corner and you're braking, what's your tendency to do with your body?
Get your weight back.
Yeah, exactly. And if you start looking, the whole idea, and I think the way I understand it, shorter crank is to open up the impingement of the hip flexor, so you get more power. So that's kind of, we're leaning towards like a recumbent leaning forward, and that's what the UCI did, that 5 millimeter bottom bracket where you can't have the tip. The whole idea is keep a position that's not in a recumbent. This is a bicycle, and we want to keep it that way. So I think that people have a tendency to hop on bandwagons without altering what's that going to do to my bike. The other thing that people, outside of shorter cranks and changing that center of gravity of what that bike was designed for, usually about at least mid-seat to even some slightly back, you probably see more of that.
Yep.
If you look, a lot of people have their seats now all the way forward, the weight's on forward. If you lose control of your front wheel, that's the last thing you want on a mountain bike, right? That's what dropper seats are for.
Yeah.
Then I started thinking about larger size tires. So when you design a frame, you look at the typical size tire. Back when I did it was 23. So when you start getting to 30, 32, 38, and you start adding that, the height of that tire throws the trail and the performance of that bike off. And to run similar, back in the day when suspension forks came out, all these bikes with rigid forks were designed for that fork, and then people would put these suspension and the handling's like driving a chopper.
Gravel's running through that right now.
Exactly right.
They don't have frames that are designed to handle a suspension fork.
And I think, if bikes are designed for a certain like generic size, and when you start altering, there is some problems you're going to have. It's not like everybody wants that silver bullet. Oh, Tadej running 165s. If I run 165s,
I'll be
dude,
fast.
you're 6'5".
Yeah.
He's 5'9".
Yeah.
It's like no. And just even tire size, you start changing that trail on that bike, it's not going to handle the same. So when you see like our times are only designed for currently now, there's a new Aero time bike coming out. soon. And that's up to a 30. But they're trying to. This is why we want our bike to ride like this. If you start throwing crap on it and changing things, that design is no longer what we designed it for. It's not going to handle. And then everybody's ticked off because this is a piece of junk bike. No, you've changed it, dude.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think people need to be aware. Just because somebody's running like 35C tires, I got to do it. You might want to think about how it's going to handle your bike.
That's also good advice. God, you guys are good. I don't care what everybody else says.
Get your vaccines and don't fuck with your bike.
Yeah. Thanks.
Good summary.
Get the jab and don't throw crap. There we go. Before we get to the final K, I do want to mention that you guys should check out the website for what I like to call the blogazine for regular updates now that are happening and articles from the members of the Packfiller as well as from our friends in the cycling community. Mao has done a couple really kind of fun articles. I'm throwing up some there. And the one and only Justin Short has submitted one that I'm going to be posting up there this week. So those are kind of fun reads to get you through your day when you can't have our sultry velvety tones in your ears because your boss is telling you to stop watching basketball. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the final K. Are we ready? Which outro should I use? I have some of the older outros too, which are kind of fun. This one? Was that the one? No, that's not the one. I think that's the one Paul likes.
No, this is the one that says "au revoir."
Oh, this is the one. Or you like this one?
Oh,
yeah.
That's the one Paul likes. Gentlemen, the final K for the night is: how far into the racing season or summer are you planning to go? Truth time. How late are you planning to go? Are you going to go all the way through July? Are you going to basically bump out of June? What is it going to be? Talk to me, Goose. Tell me the truth.
I'm all in for up to the middle of July, slight break there, and then a couple events at the end.
Okay.
They're going to be relaxed.
Okay, Paul?
EPO is the last race that I know.
When is EPO?
In July 11th.
July 11th through the 13th.
13th, yeah.
I'm going to September. Walla Walla.
You're going all the way through.
I'm racing Walla Walla, man.
He is gunning for it.
What's
this
Walla
year.
Walla?
Walla Walla Grit. It's a gravel race.
You should do it. It's a really good event.
Really?
September.
I'm going to do it too, but I'm just...
That's your tail end of the year.
I will be there, yeah. No matter
Right now, my entire life is planned on getting through BWR Montana, and I'll
And
see what
Ephrata.
happens after that. Yeah, well, of course, Ephrata. It's leading up. It's my prep event. You prick.
what. I'll go as late as it takes to get my 32 races this year.
32.
32 for 32. I'm 32.
Oh, you're doing 32 as
That's
30?
the goal.
You're
Yeah.
only 32 years old?
Yeah.
Fuck you. Be sure to like and subscribe to the show and check out our YouTube channel, everybody, as well as pop a review every now and then. I'm going to sneak. I'm so offended by you and your goddamn youth.
Jesus. He's like 34. What's the difference? 33? No, 34 now.
You're 34?
He's 32 a
turned.
few months
Both of
ago.
you guys are assholes. I think Jackson,
He's
I think,
like
is
26.
my baby. I know,
Yeah.
but he's my baby.
He's a
my
little
boy.
baby.
We're going to have the best 30th birthday.
Well, you know what? I'm pretty impressed.
30.
I'm pretty impressed that I'm keeping up with you assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you
Yeah.
know, I don't take your shit anymore. Be
You
sure to
shouldn't.
subscribe and check out the website. We have a lot heading the way and a lot of kind of fun stuff. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Paul, what's
you.
the score?
It was 44-41 Gonzaga. last
We
time I
are
checked.
we are in Gonzaga country, so if you understand college basketball, you understand that it is not pronounced
Is it
Gonzaga.
March
40
Madness?
No.
No. This is the WCC championship game, and it's 48-42 with 10 minutes, 19 seconds.
There we go. Good luck, Bags, because I'm a graduate. God damn it. See you
Yeah.
guys later.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.